Today, we're going to be checking out the PMEQ from Master Effects. Now that we have the in-mix out of the way, before we get to hearing it outside of a mix and tweaking some knobs, let's talk about what this thing actually is and what it's doing. And just real quick, before we get to the rest of the video, I don't get paid to make these videos. I don't really make money from this at all. As a matter of fact, I spend a lot of money to do all this kind of stuff. So if you want to support the channel, if you like what I do, please, I have an affiliate link down to Sweetwater down below. It doesn't cost anything extra if you use that link, but if you're going to pick up something cool for yourself, please use my link. I get a little bit of a percentage for that, and that would really help out with the channel. Thanks, let's get back to the video. The PMEQ is based off of an old equalizer, the Aphex EQF2, which very famously used by plenty of people, but also by Metallica. And this is specifically going for how Metallica was using it on the Master of Puppets album, which, you know, explains the artwork on the front of it. And essentially what it's doing is it's boosting the bass, so the bass control, which goes from 22 to 500 hertz, is meant to boost the bass, not actually cut it, although you still can, but it's meant to boost the bass. And then the mid control is actually really interesting because, of course, everyone knows Metallica, especially on the Master of Puppets album, had a very scooped tone. And so this mid control is actually meant to be a scoop. And so the more you turn it up, essentially, the more scoop you get, and the more you back off of it, the less scoop that you get with it, which is pretty interesting. And then mid-scoop control goes from 250 hertz all the way up to 5,000 hertz. And of course, the high frequency is also a little bit of an interesting choice as well. It's actually a high shelf. So it's not just boosting, you know, one set of frequencies. It's actually like a full shelf boosting everything kind of in a flat line, if you want to think of it that way. So like everything kind of raises past a certain point and gets a bit brighter. And of course, with that scoop, you have the scoop, you have the boosted bass, and then you have a bunch of boosted high ends for that very present, very cutting top end. And that goes all the way from 1,000 up to 20,000 hertz. So you can get to points where guitar amps aren't even making frequencies, really. So how I ended up using this is I was running in the loop of my Friedman BE50 Deluxe, and I was running that on the high gain, you know, boosted HBE channel, like the high BE channel. And basically it took it from a great sounding tone into very Metallica, very thrash, scooped, heavy tones very quickly. I ended up boosting a bit of bass. I was in the range of about 80 hertz, so it made everything thicker, made the palm mutes chunkier, but it didn't make anything muddy. I ended up scooping some mids off probably around the 500 to like 700-ish range, which is where Metallica would be scooping them anyway on their Mark Series amplifiers, but it also got rid of some kind of honky, boxy mids without, you know, removing the good mids that are in the upper mid range, you know, the 1,000, 2,000 range that are really gonna make for the cutting sound that you want. And I had the high-end shelf control somewhere around like 3,000 to 5,000. I can't remember exactly, but I just kind of dialed it in where it sounded nice and was getting some extra top end and grit and aggression and making everything kind of pop more without it getting like harsh or too fizzy. So I think this is a really interesting EQ set for an equalizer. You know, most equalizers just have, okay, you pick especially parametrics, you pick the EQ frequency that you want, and do you want less or more? I've never really had one where the mids were meant to be scooped, where you had a high shelf instead of just a normal high control, and where the bass was meant to be boosted more than it was cut. But it instantly got that vibe, and I can see why Metallica used this on Master of Puppets. And if anyone's looking for like a good 80s thrash sound or just a decent EQ that's a little left of center, I think this thing is cool. So like I said, I had this running in the loop of my Friedman BE50 Deluxe on the HBE channel. I was plugging into the Friedman with my Les Paul Classic with a bare knuckle War Pig in the bridge. Absolutely love that pickup. Drives super hard, super chunky. And then that was going into my Two Notes Captor X, which had an IR blend of my DV77 and VM1265 speakers. So we're gonna just hear that whole same setup now out of a mix and turn some knobs. Let's check it out. So this thing, after hearing it inside and outside of a mix, definitely does what it's going for. Really, I can see why Metallica used this back in the day on Master of Puppets, and I can see why it's a sought after EQ, the real one. So this is definitely cool to have essentially the features they were using distilled down into a pedal. And it's really cool to have a left of center EQ. It's kind of hard to do something different in the EQ world, and still he managed to have something kind of cool and unique. So if you dug it, I would definitely love to hear down below. Leave a comment, please. But it was awesome of Master Effects to send this over for me to check out. I'm going to have a link down below if you want to check out this or anything else from Master Effects. But thanks for watching. Stay metal.